Okay, good morning, everyone. Course, I แก้มใสเอเชียออกกวีกุล Okay. Hmm. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's let's start the session. Let me share in a bit. Um, Okay, you all see my slides, right? So, yesterday we started a new topic on tour guides. And as I told you yesterday, tour guides still exist nowadays, and notably in forms of YouTubers, okay, vloggers. And you guys I think many of you probably have watched some of them in action, right? And you guys can just start them if you want. You can start doing YouTubes if you want. So we talked about on-site guide, we talked about city guide, we talked about specialized guide, we talked about logistics, catering accommodations, we talked about transport and excursions, hotel safety and cleanliness. We talked about policies and practices, right? And I explained cases in Russia, in North Korea. Okay. We discussed about trial run and soft opening. So, so let's move on to this. Okay, just a tiny bit left. So, planning a tour, right? In induction, the word induction just means when you start a tour, when you begin a tour. So it's the beginning of something. That's what the word induction means. Okay, so you just meet and greet, and then you um, introduce informations and rules and regulations on online or in person if you're a tour guide. But the most important thing is knowing the audience. Right? If you're a physical tour guide, leading a tour, you need to know the audience, right? At least you need to know the what requirements do they have, what expectations do they have, and if any of them are kids, if any of them are seniors or elders. Okay. So let me ask you, if you're a tour guide, why do you need to know if your your audience or your customers are seniors? What's important about seniors? What is important about seniors? If you're a tour guide, why is it important that you need to know if there are any seniors in your tour group? Can anyone tell me why? Why is it important to know if there are any seniors? What special requirements do they have? What types of special requirements do seniors have? Can anyone tell me? It doesn't matter if your answer is right or wrong. I can help you. Do you have parents over 60 years old? Their health and well-being very good, Posh. So their special requirements are their health. We like to know if they have any health concerns or health conditioning. All right. There was a real case, right? I used to go I used to go on a trip. I went on a trip in Europe, right, in Switzerland, long time ago with my parents. So my parents were around 50 to 60, right? And I was like I think 10 years old. Okay. This is like decades ago. So we went on a trip to Switzerland, and Switzerland is notorious for high altitudes, right? And there were many seniors, right, in that tour group because seniors are they they have high spending power. So one of the things that the tour guides neglect was their health issues. And then in one of the trips, the tour guides led all of us up on the mountains. So we walked from we parked a bus, right? And everyone in the group was walking up the stairs onto the snowy mountains. And can you guess what happens when seniors walked up on snowy mountains, snowy hills? What happens when seniors walk up the snowy hills? Yes. Can anyone guess? You can type it or you can say it out loud. So seniors walked up snowy hills. There was an incident that happened. There was an accident. What types of accident can happen, you think? What types of accidents can happen? So the things that happened was one of the seniors, he fainted, right? Right? He fainted because on high altitudes, there's less air. There's less air, and they had to call an ambulance to come and pick him up. So aside from seniors, um, what other issues do you have to be concerned about your audience? What other issues? So health issue is one. What's the second issue that you need to ask your audience if you're conducting a tour in person with them? Come on, can you help throw out the answers? Sleep, the senior sleep. Yeah, very good. What other issues do they have? You need to ask about a dietary issue. Okay, dietary issue. What do they need? Very good. Mobility and assistance. Okay. Mobility and assistance. Seniors need help with mobility and assistance. That is true. Yes. And another thing is dietary issue. Dietary issue means are they allergic to any, are they allergic to any food? Okay. Okay. So post tour, right? Planning a tour, post tour. Post tour means after the tour. So you have planned your tour, you have conducted the tour, and then post tour you have gathered all informations and reports, submit a report, etc., etc. The last one is called liquidate if necessary. Liquidate means you can terminate it or end it, right? You can liquidate if you think this tour is not a good tour, if it poses any danger to your customers, or if the feasibility, the financial feasibility is not good, meaning it doesn't make a lot of money for you, for instance. So you can choose to liquidate it, right? And then create another toy and then try it again. Okay, done with 4.1. Now we're moving onwards to 4.2. 4.2 is about crisis and contingency management procedures. So crisis and contingency, I think we just experienced it last week, right? Earthquake in Bangkok, right? Earthquake in Bangkok is considered one of the crises. Earthquake in Thailand, right? So we evacuated down from tall buildings, okay, and most people are saved. Most of us, right? Most of us are saved. This is a rare occurrence in Thailand. Hold on a second, it's downloading, right? Okay. This is very rare. Earthquake is very rare. Very rare occurrence in Thailand. Okay. So tsunami, hurricanes, floods, earthquake, etc., etc. Right. Health pandemics. The whole world experienced it. Um, Almost 5 years ago now, right? The COVID, okay, pandemics. Stability and security and financial crisis. So let me wait. Stability and security. Let's take a look at stability and security. Countries that you think that you can think of when you think about being unstable and insecure if you visit, right? Can you help me name some of them? Can you help me name some of them? What countries visitors have to be careful of stability and security when you go visit? Not a lot of people visit these countries. Okay, can you throw me some names? What are they? Can you throw me some names of the countries that you know of that pose security risk?
North Korea,
Very good, North Korea. North Korea is always on brink of having war with South Korea and Japan. Okay, so what other countries? What countries that you wouldn't normally go visit? Come on, I can name like a dozen of them. There's like 10 of them.
Burma.
Burma, very good. Burma is always is under a dictatorship regime, right? So they're always having violent protests. They're always having civil war between clans and stuff, right? Lat Chang, Lat Yakai. Okay, what other countries? It's on global news nowadays since last year. What other countries? Ukraine, right? Eastern Europe. What other countries? What else? What else? Come on.
India,
Say again.
India,
India. Okay. What kind of security risks do they have in India? India versus Pakistan, right? But I think India, sorry, India is still kind of safe to travel. Even though they're always on the brink of, they have like sort of antagonism with their neighbor Pakistan, right? But yeah, I think okay, still safe to go. But yeah, you're right. There's a potential risk in India. What other countries do we have that is right now they're fighting? They're fighting. They have risks, and then the war broke out.
Gaza and
Say again.
Gaza,
Very
Israel.
good. Yes, Middle East. Gaza, right? Israel. Um, those countries, what are the names? Gaza, Israel, um, Lebanon, right? Iran. Okay. So stability and security. Now, next, this is financial crisis. Financial crisis is very important. Right now, if you follow the news, you should be able to understand very easily that the world is now on the brink of financial crisis, right? Because of the trade war, because of the trade war, tariff between U.S. versus China, but it turns out it's kind of like U.S. versus the world. Can anyone tell me what a tariff is? Donald Trump's tariff. What is the meaning of tariff? Can anyone tell me? Anyone know what a tariff is? You can Google it. What is a tariff? What is tariffed? Come on.
It's like when you import something into the US and then you have to pay the tax.
Say again, tax, right?
Yeah, when you import something into the US, you have to pay the tax.
Very good. Thank you for your answer. Is import tax. So, for example, US is saying that, oh, we have been on deficit, right? US is always on deficit. Deficit means that they're making a loss from their import and export. It means US is always buy more than sell. Buy more than sell means they import more than export, right? So Trump is saying that, hey, because of this, I'm going to impose tariff, particularly impose it on China, so that so that import imported components, imported electronic components are expensive. So that iPhone costs a lot more to produce and sold in the USA. So people buy less iPhone. That's the idea, right? That's the idea. That's the simple idea of having a tariff. It doesn't want Americans to spend on foreign imports, right? It wants Americans to buy locals. to buy local products, right? Not just iPhone, but everything else, cars, food, clothes, everything. Okay, there's a lot more to this, but this is a simple explanation in one aspect of what the tariff is about. Okay, so this is causing a panic. It's causing panic. It's causing panic because people think things will be more expensive. So thus people spend less. And what is scary about people spending less is people spend less, save more. When people spend less and save more, right? Instead of like going out to buy new clothes, more food, eat out in restaurants, people stop spending. So when people stop spending, what is going to happen? Businesses slow down. Businesses will slow down. Businesses slow down. What happens? Businesses will start laying off people. So when business start laying off people, what happens? People become unemployed. They earn less, so they spend less. And it turns into a vicious spiral or vicious cycle, right? This is a very simple explanation of what is going on in the world now, right? People fear that businesses will shrink because of all this tariff tax. Okay, so how does all this economic explanation affect travel and tourism? Can anyone tell me how this? If you have been paying attention since day one, right? You remember when I told you that travel and tourism, is it needs or is it wants? Is it needs or is it wants? Travel and tourism, hotels and vacation. Is it needs or is it wants? Is wants. Very good. Travel and tourism is wants. So if Americans go broke, right? And Chinese is having a trade war with Americans. Thailand as a tourist destination will suffer. Thailand as a tourist destination will suffer. So I think you need to understand this. And this is also something you can apply it to your assignment. Okay, you can explain this in your assignment. Thailand as a tourist destination will suffer if tourists from Europe, from US, from China, they're scared to spend money then Thailand as a tourist destination will suffer. Okay? Very likely that they will suffer, that we will suffer. Um, Another thing that you need to understand, well, there's a lot more things that you need to understand about financial crisis is about you need to understand exchange rate. You need to understand exchange rate, okay? So exchange rate is based on demand and supply of currency. It sounds difficult, but let me explain this, right? Demand and supply. The word demand and supply means, for example, if you have in Thailand, if you have coconuts, no, let's say if you have um, bananas, okay, when the farmers grow bananas or rice or whatever it is, right? These are all commodities. When they grow bananas or rice or whatever, if the supply, if it yields a lot of supply, right? Amount, the price of bananas, rice, etc., goes down, right? Cheaper, it becomes cheaper. Given that demand is the same, all right? Like for example, if one household, you and I buy bananas, one bananas per week when we go to the market, for example, right? We don't buy more. But the supply of banana becomes more, then banana becomes cheaper. But if the supply becomes scarce means limited, right? They have disease or whatever. So the price of banana goes up. It becomes more expensive because we do not have a lot of bananas and we have to fight to buy bananas, right? So the price goes up. That's just a simple law of demand and supply, right? Very easy. I think you all understand this. So the same thing applies to currency. So for example, Thai baht versus US dollars. Okay, Thai baht versus US dollars. So right now is 33 baht. It's approximated, right? I'm not sure. I think it's around 33 baht per one US dollar. What you need to understand is if a lot of foreigners, let's imagine a hypothetical situation, right? Imagine if everyone in the world wants to travel to Thailand. Let's say there's World War III going on, right? And everyone wants to travel in Thailand as a safe haven. Let's assume World War III. Everyone is coming to safe haven, Thailand. So all currency exchange for Thai baht. Like Japanese, they want to come to Thailand. Russia, they have war. They want to come to Thailand. They want to buy land in Phuket. Americans, they're sick of Trump's crazy policies. They want to migrate to Thailand. Chinese, they want to migrate to Thailand and do business here and settle. So everyone is coming to Thailand. So all the money in the world needs to be exchanged to Thai baht, right? For them to be able to buy stuff in Thailand, right? Buy food in Thailand, rent housing in Thailand. My question to you is Thai baht going to be strong or weak? If everyone is demanding to buy Thai baht, if everyone is demanding for their currencies to be exchanged to Thai baht, is Thai baht going to be strong or weak? Strong, very good. It's going to be strong. Okay. Just like the price of banana when we don't have a lot of banana, right? The price goes up. But for Thai baht to be strong, this might sound confusing, right? What I'm about to explain. Is 33 baht per US gonna go up or gonna go down? Initially, it was 33, but if Thai baht is strong, is it going up to 35, 40, 50? Or is it going down to 30, 25, 20? Is it going up or down? If Thai baht becomes strong because everyone wants to buy it, is it going up or is it coming down, Thai baht, when it is strong? Okay, one of your friends say up. What about other people? Think in reverse of you're using your money to buy bananas, right? So when banana is expensive, usually one banana is 10 baht. So let's say one banana is 10 baht. When it gets expensive, you cannot use 10 baht to buy one banana anymore. You need, let's say you need 15 baht to buy one banana. This is banana becoming strong, right? Banana is becoming strong and more valuable. So same here. Same here. If Thai baht is strong, it's going down. It's gonna go down to, let's say, 25 baht. Because it means that you need, like, if for example, if you're an American, right? So usually $1 can be exchanged for 33 baht. Normally one US dollar can be can buy, right? Can buy or can be exchanged, can buy 33 baht. But if baht becomes strong, like banana, one US, you need more than one US dollar. to buy 33 baht. For example, you might need 1.5, you might need, let's say, $2 to buy 33 baht. Okay, so in other words, $1 can now buy only 25 baht because Thai baht is now stronger or more valuable. Or the word that we use in foreign exchange is called appreciate. It appreciates. It appreciates in value. Okay. Thai baht appreciates in value. So from 33 baht per $1, now let's say it's 25 baht per $1 because everyone is buying it, just like banana. They need more US dollars, they need more Japanese yen, they need more of the currencies to buy us, to buy our Thai baht, for example. So this is important to understand. This is important to understand regarding travel and tourism. It's important to understand regarding travel and tourism. So if baht is strong, is it good for imports or export? Okay, this is our second part that I'm bringing you to. Okay, okay. It's just each slide is like a jigsaw puzzle, right? You need this jigsaw to understand it, right? So right now I'm just providing you with different pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. Once you have enough pieces, right, you can paste them together to get the picture of basic macroeconomics. And it is related, it affects travel and tourism very much, okay, very much. So this is another piece of jigsaw puzzle that we need to discuss, right? If baht is strong, is it good for import or export? So let's say Thailand import iPhones, okay? Thailand imports iPhones. Thailand export rice and rubber to China, to US, okay? So when the baht is strong, is it good for import or export? Okay, we have one answer. It's good for import, right? Baht is strong, it's good for import. Okay, why? So baht is strong, it's good for import. Is it? Let's take a look. So if you're importing iPhone, right? Let's say you pay 1,000 US dollars per iPhone. So you're importing, you're paying iPhone 1,000 US dollars per iPhone. That $1,000 used to be able to exchanged for 33 baht. Okay. Let me rephrase this. So you used to spend 33 baht to 33 baht times 1,000 US dollars per phone. You're on the buy side, right? When you import it, you're buying the iPhone from US. Okay, for example, I'm making up an example. You used to spend 33 times 1,000 US dollars, which is 33,000 baht per phone. If the baht gets stronger, if baht becomes stronger, you can only spend, let's say, 25 baht times 1,000 US dollars, which is 25,000 baht per phone. So it's gonna cost you less. So if baht is strong, it is good for import. If baht is weak, on the contrary, it's good for export. It's good for export because when you export rice to US, you used to get you used to sell, let's say, 33 baht, right? Per $1. But if baht is weak, you now get, let's say, 50 baht per $1. So when you exchange back, you export to rice to US, right? Let's say you sell it for $1 per parcel. That $1, when you travel to Bangkok, you exchange it back. You used to get 33 baht, right? But if baht is weak, now instead of 33 baht, you sell $1 per one parcel. It's the same. But you exchange it now for 50 baht, right? You get 50 baht. So that's you get like profit out of the exchange rate. Okay. So just try to understand this logic. But for me, I was born just in time for the Thailand financial crisis in 1997 to 1998. It was called the Tom Yam Kung crisis, right? It was called the Tom Yam Kung crisis. What happened was Thailand was in bubble. It's a long story, but you can Google this, right? Like what happened in Tom Yam Kung crisis, Thailand. You can Google it. Right? There's a lot of sources. But long story short is Thailand had a bubble. Bubble means things are better than it really is, right? And people speculate a lot on assets, on real estate, on stocks, right? It's called bubble. And then the bubble burst. One of the reason was because of also the breaking of holy trinity in economics. You can Google this, all right? I'm not going to explain it because it's a bit more detail, but the keyword is the holy trinity of economics. It causes a Tom Yam Kung crisis, all right? You can Google it, right? I'm not going to explain the mechanics, but I will only affect the after effect to you. The after effect was that Thai baht went from 25 baht per dollar to 50 baht per dollar overnight in like 1 or 2 days, right? And that's a 100% super drastic change. So Thai economy went bust. You can argue that, hey, it's good for export, isn't it? Right, but all the import sector went bankrupt. All the import sector went bankrupt. It's great for export, right? Not just good. It's great for export, but the import sector went bankrupt. And this is like you're riding a bike, right? Your front tire is super good, but then your back tire is having a flat all of a sudden. So what happens? What happens is your bike will crash, right? No matter if all the tires are super good, super strong, but if one of them has a weakest link, then the whole system still crashed. So yeah, that's the financial crisis. Okay. So because of this, right? Because of this, Thai baht went from 25 to 50. If you understand all this that I've been explaining, if you have been paying attention, let me ask you, this financial crisis from 20 baht to 50 baht, is it good or bad for tourism in Thailand? Is it good or bad for tourism in Thailand? If you're a foreigner, would you like to come and travel in Thailand? No. Yes or no? And is it good or bad for students studying abroad? I have only two questions for you. Just try to think this through, right? And answer it. You can just try to think and answer it. It doesn't matter if you're wrong, right? I'm not going to grill you or anything. I will only help you if you get the wrong answer, but just think and answer it. Okay, type away your answers. Type away your answer. Everyone, just type away your answer. Is it good or bad for tourism in Thailand? Okay, bad for tourism and students. Okay, what about other students, the rest of you? Type away your answer. Think your best and then type. Bad for both. Okay, bad for both. Okay, what are the rest of you? Just type. Everyone just type. Think and type. Think and type away your answer. Okay, August is bad. Which one is good? Which one is bad? Both or what? Good for tourism. Okay, we're going to say good for tourism coming to Thailand. Okay. What about students studying abroad? Is that good or bad? What about the rest of you? Pair. Oh, pair already answered. What about Sun, Minnie, Mickey? Sun, Minnie, and Mickey, are you there? Nay. Sun, Minnie, and Mickey. Okay. So first of all, tourism in Thailand, right? Foreigners coming into Thailand, hotels, right? That sells rooms to foreigners. Is this import or export? Are we buying or are we selling? Is tourism in Thailand import or export? Is this import or export? That's the first question. Hotels, airline, tours in Thailand. Is that import or export? Are we buying or are we selling? Selling. This is selling. So this is export. We're selling hotels to foreigners, right? It doesn't matter if we're selling them there or we're selling them here in Thailand. We're selling something and we get money from foreigners traveling in Thailand. So this is export. So tourism is actually export, right? It's the same as you export rice to US, you export bananas to US, you export hotels to US, right? You export bananas and rice to US, you get the money. They eat rice and banana from us. They can eat it here, they can eat it in the US, doesn't matter. We're selling hotels to US, we get money from them, right? From Americans, from foreign tourists. It doesn't matter if they come and stay at our hotel. It doesn't matter if they use Google VR and they experience our hotels in America. Doesn't matter. It's still the same. It's just thing of buying or selling. So this is export. It's great for tourism in Thailand because everyone is coming, right? Everyone is coming. What about students studying abroad? This is import. So students studying abroad, this is like importing. We're paying for their education, right? It doesn't matter if Thai students go and study in the UK universities. Doesn't matter if you still sit in Thailand and study online, right? But we're paying money to them. So study abroad is import. So it went bust, means it went bad. Okay. All right, let's take a break for 10 to 15 minutes. Meet you again at 11:15. Okay. All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Let's resume our session. So, in conclusion, right, of where we left off, it's just that if a country has financial crisis, um, foreigners might want to visit because it's cheap for them, right? They might want to visit because it's cheap for them. So for another real example right now, Japanese yen has been weakening, right? Japanese yen has been weakening. So a lot of Thai people go visit Japan, right? Because things become cheaper for us there. Okay. Okay, crisis events example, tsunami, bird flu, SARS, 11 September, earthquake, hand, foot, mouth, etc., etc. So dealing with emergencies, right? Dealing with emergencies. Number one is to minimize personal injury and loss, right? So safety of people, safety of the people, safety and well-being of the people is number one priority, of course. Number two is to minimize inconvenience to our clients, right? Minimize inconvenience because if the clients the clients have difficulty or they struggle in receiving your service, then they talked to other clients and it's just bad for your business. It can ruin your reputation, ruin the business reputation. As number three says, to protect the company's reputation. Okay. And then number four, provide a fast response to guides, loved ones, and press and vendors. Right. Press is the media or the news, right? And then the vendors. Vendors are suppliers, people who sell things to your business. Okay, I have a case in point for you to watch, right? And then after that, I will be asking questions. After that, I'll be asking questions. So pay attention to this. First of all, let me just check names. Check names. So when I call your names, I want you to type to me that you're here, or you can just say it. You can just say that you're here, right? So Ice, are you here? Ice is here. Okay, good. Posh, are you here? Posh is here. Good. Gamsai, are you here? Gamsai is here. Good. Asia, are you here? Asia, are you here? Yes. Okay, good. Gawi Kun, are you here? Gawi Kun. Okay, good. Olga, are you here? Are you still with us? Olga is here. Okay, good. Pewa. Pewa, are you here? You here? Good. Good to have you with us. Mickey, you here? Mickey, are you here? Mickey, are you here? Mickey is not here. Okay, Nay, are you here? Naay, Nay. Okay, Mickey is here. Okay, what about Nay? Okay, what about Nay? Are you here? Naay. What about Sun? Sun, are you here? Sun is here. Okay, good to have you with us. KB, are you here? KB is here. Okay, great. Art, are you here? ART, Art.
Here, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, very good. Let's move on to this incident. An airline incident happened in the US long time ago, I think about 10 years ago. I'm gonna let you watch this, okay? And after you watch it, try to think about the slides that I just showed you. Try to think about this slide, okay? Try to think about this slide. Let me wait. Let me share this. Try to think about this slide, okay? Emergency response. Try to think about emergency response. There's an emergency on the airplane, okay? Overbooking situation, and people got hurt. People got hurt, okay? So watch it, and we will have a discussion later, okay? Pay attention to it. Hold on, okay? Hold on. Questions to my students. Can you hear the voice from the clip? You 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 can see the clip, right? But can you hear the voice from the clip? Can you hear the voice from the clip like this? Cannot hear, right? So, okay, now can you hear the voice?
Hey, it's not. Come on. Come on.
Can't the pilots drive to Lulu? Can't they rent a car for the pilots and have them drive? Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! No! My guys! My God! What are you doing? No! This is wrong! Oh my God! Look at what you did to him! Oh my God! What are you doing? No! Oh my God! Oh my God!
It's crazy.
Guys, my God! What are you doing?
That's insane. Crazy.
No, this is wrong! Oh my God! Look at what you did to him!
That's crazy. Shouldn't happen.
I have to go home. I have to go home. I have to go home.
Might lose my mind.
Just kill me. Just kill me. Kill me. Just kill me.
Pilots and have them drive.
It's the viral video that's been causing jaws to drop all day long. Horrified passengers hit record as a man is grabbed and dragged off a United Airlines flight. The reason why he was pulled off is even more shocking. Now, imagine that you book your flight, you pay for it in full, you go and check in, get your boarding pass, board the plane, only to be told that you have to get off because the flight is overbooked. Well, one man in the U.S. refused to do that, and that is what's led to this incident.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Guys, my God! What are you doing?
It happened yesterday on an overbooked flight from Chicago to Louisville. It turns out there was no space available for 4 United staff members who needed a seat so they could work out of Louisville today. When no one volunteered to give up their seats, United says 4 passengers were selected at random, but one of them refused to leave. Passengers say he told staff he was a doctor who had patients to see. So aviation police dragged him and pulled him right off. Travel insider Jonathan Carroll says this is highly unusual.
I worked up at the airport for years, so I've actually never seen a situation sort of escalate to the level it has what you saw in the video there. It's beyond unusual. In my years, 25 years plus in the industry, I've never seen this take place.
Well, the man eventually made his way back on board, his face all bloodied, looking dazed and confused. The plane eventually took off without him. United confirms the incident did happen. The company's CEO has issued a statement which reads in part, "This is an upsetting event to all here at United. Our team is moving with a sense of urgency to work with the authorities and conduct our own detailed review of what happened." Here in Canada, work is being done to clarify the rules on overbooked flights as part of a passenger Bill of Rights.
I certainly have seen what happened in the case of the United airline flight, and that is why last November I announced that we would be putting in place what we call a regime of rights for passengers, so that airlines recognize that when a passenger books a flight and is then told that it's overbooked, that they have certain rights, that if their baggage is damaged, that if it's lost, those are things where the passenger must have reciprocal rights with respect to the airlines, and we'll be bringing out those measures. We're going to develop them this year, and they'll be coming out next year.
Now, Jonathan Carroll says that if you want to ensure that this doesn't happen to you, arrive here to the airport early, because the earlier you check in, the higher on that check-in list you are, the least likely you are to be kicked off of a flight. Of course, you can find more information on our website, citynews.ca.
Next tonight to that ABC News exclusive, the CEO of United Airlines speaking out for the first time. What he's now saying about that passenger. Here's our chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis.
I'm physician, have to work tomorrow 8 o'clock, so am I.
Tonight, the new cell phone video showing Dr. David Dow when he was first approached to get off that United flight.
No, I'm not going. I am not going.
Witnesses saying he wasn't threatening in his refusal before things escalated. And he was forcibly removed. United CEO Oscar Munoz addressing the incident, speaking exclusively with ABC News.
What did you think when you saw that video of a man being dragged off of one of your planes?
Probably the word ashamed comes to mind. This will never happen again on a United Airlines flight. That's my premise and that's my promise.
In the future, if no one voluntarily decides to leave a plane based on the amount of money that United is offering,
we are not going to put a law enforcement official to take them off.
Oh my God!
Tonight, Chicago officials putting 2 more officers involved on administrative leave. United announcing all passengers aboard the flight will be compensated for their tickets.
Do you think he's at fault in any way?
No, he can't be. He was a paying passenger sitting on our seat in our aircraft, and no one should be treated that way, period.
Rebecca with us now, and late today we learned that the
Okay, can you hear my voice now? So let me explain the backstory of this incident a bit, all right? So let me get back to my presentation. So the backstory of this is United Airlines is a domestic airline in the US, okay? It travels between states, right? Like similar to Nok Air or Air Asia in Thailand, from Bangkok to Chiang Mai to Phuket, that sort. And they had, what the clips explain to you is they had an overbooking situation. So the way it works is when there's an overbooking situation, right? When someone overbooked, actually the fact is the one that was overbooked was the flight attendant. One of the flight attendants was overbooked, and so they needed to find an empty seat for another flight attendant to fly to work, right, in the next airline or the next flight. So they asked for a volunteer. And this Vietnamese, this doctor, right? He was a doctor. He was a doctor. He, I think, initially volunteer. So by the word volunteer, how it works in airline overbook situation is that they're gonna give you compensation, right? The airline gives compensation. For example, maybe like 100 US dollars with a ticket for the next air flight or free hotel, that sort. I don't know the details, but they do give compensation, right, for overbooking situation because all customers are paying customers, right? Means they already paid for it. So it's the airline's mistakes, not the customers or the passengers' mistake. So normally the airlines gives compensation. So the doctor initially volunteered. So this doctor was American-born Vietnamese doctor. He was an American-born Vietnamese, means a Vietnamese, but was born in the U.S. He's a U.S. citizen. Okay. So the doctor initially volunteered, and then after that, but afterwards, change his mind. Afterwards, he carefully rechecked his work plan, his work appointment, and then he changed his mind. He went like, "Oh, I'm sorry. After I looked at my schedule, I cannot volunteer anymore because if I volunteer, I will be late for my next patient in another town, for instance." So the airline was like, okay. So the airline was like, okay, we're gonna look for to use an algorithm. So the airline was not going to use, that's what the news say, right? And there are many news and many sources on this, but the airline is now going to use an algorithm, just like Facebook algorithm, it's like a computer equation or something to calculate the weight of each passenger on each one's urgency, right? They're going to use the algorithm, and it came out that the same doctor was chosen. The same doctor was chosen, right? So as you can see in one of the clips that I show you, the doctor was like, no, 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 I cannot leave. I cannot leave. No, I refuse to leave because strangely, he was the one who first volunteered. He was the only one who first volunteered. And then after the airline used the algorithm on the airplane, he was picked again, right? So this is very suspicious, very strange. So the doctor was like, no, 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 cannot, I cannot do that again. So the airline used force to remove him, claiming that he was antagonistic. Antagonistic means aggressive, right? Aggressive. He was being aggressive, claiming that he was aggressive. So the airline dragged him out, as you see in the clips, right? So they dragged him out, and people were recording videos and pictures and noise and everything. So another backstory that you should know is that you should know is, why did the airline went this far to remove him? Because it was after 9/11, right? So after 9/11, many airlines, they had like air marshals or air police. And what the flight attendants and the airline says is absolute. What they say is absolute for safety of everyone on the plane. So they didn't want to take any nonsense, right? Any airplane. If, for example, if you go in an airplane nowadays, right, and you want to prank, for example, you want to shout bomb, bomb, bomb. Let's see what happens, right? Police is probably coming to smack you down on the floor and remove you and put you in jail, right? It's pretty serious after 9/11. Before 9/11, not very serious, but after 9/11, all the airlines in the world, particularly in the US, they became super serious. Okay, so that's the backstory of what happened. Okay, that's the backstory of what happened. So my question to you now is, wait, before that question, I'm going to show you how the airline first responded to this incident, okay? I'm going to show you how they first responded to this incident.
The car for the pilots and have them drive.
So after the incident, this was the first statement that the airline released to the public, all right? Pay attention to this. So it says flight 3411 from Chicago to Louisville was overbooked. After our team looked for volunteers, one customer refused to leave the aircraft voluntarily, and law enforcement was asked. Wait, after our team looked for volunteers, one customer refused to leave the aircraft voluntarily, and then law enforcement was asked to come to the gate. We apologize for the overbooked situation. Further details on the removed customer should be directed to authorities. Okay, we apologize for the overbooked situation. Further details on the removed customers should be directed to authorities. So my questions to you now is, how did the airline screw this up? How did the airline screw this up with this press release to the public? Do you notice anything wrong or strange with this statement? Anyone notice anything wrong or strange with this statement? Anyone want to give it a try? What is wrong with this statement? What's wrong with the press release? What's wrong with the press release? Anyone? What is wrong with the press release? Anyone? What is wrong with the press release? Anyone? All right, so they did not apprise all the men being dragged. Okay, I is very good. Anyone else?
Maybe the fact that they said that it was like overbooked and they were looking for volunteers, but then they say that he refused to leave and it's kind of contradicting.
Very good, very smart. Their message is contradictory. This message is contradictory. They say they look for volunteers, but then one customer refused to leave. They look for volunteers, but one customer refused to volunteer to leave. That's contradicting, right? If you look for a volunteer, the one that leaves has to be willing to leave voluntarily, right? So the message is very funny and strange. And another student, you got a point, right? They didn't apologize about the men. First, it's self contradicting on the definition of volunteer. And second, right, more importantly, they miss the point. They miss the point of the situation. The situation was a man was harmed and people, passengers were horrified to witness. The main situation was the airline screwed up and then the man was harmed by the airline officials, right? And then that's the whole point of the story. The whole point is not like is not causing any inconvenience, right? So back to the slide. Let's go back to the slide. Let's go back to the slide a bit. Right, number one, right, common sense, right, minimize personal injury and loss, and then number two, minimize inconvenience to our clients, right? So the airline forgot the golden rule here, right? Instead of addressing number one, right, minimize personal injury and loss, try to prevent this. They screw it up, and someone was harmed because of the policy of the airline, right? And then the press respond, they even further worsen the situation by dismissing number one, that a passenger, a paid passenger was injured, right? They basically misplaced their priority. Let me just say the airline misplaced their priorities. They misplaced the priorities. They switched number two up to number one, and they thought like people were unhappy because it was inconvenient. No, it's not. People were not unhappy because it's inconvenient. People were unhappy because a representative of the customers was hurt, right? So that's the whole point. Number one, two, three, four is all messed up in this situation, and that's why it's a crisis, and the way they handle the crisis causes another crisis on top of it, right? It causes another crisis on top of it. So my question to you now, another question is, how would the airline have resolved the situation if they could turn back time? How would the airline have resolved? If you were the flight attendant in power, right? If you were the airline CEO at that time, right, on the plane, how would you have resolved the situation? A hypothetical situation. How would you have resolved it? The flight is overbooked, right? The problem is the flight is overbooked. Cannot take off, right? You need someone to step out because the flight is overbooked and thus the plane cannot take off. How would you have resolved the situation? Anyone? How would they have resolved the situation? Anyone? You can guess, it can be wrong, it doesn't matter. You can type it or you can say it. I'll give you a hint. It's about compensation. It's always about the compensation. Right? How would you have resolved it? If you have everything in your power, how would you make someone leave the plane willingly? How would you do that? Offer higher compensation. Exactly. 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 Very good. Well, I think he was offered certain compensation, right? And then no one want to leave. So solution is to keep offering higher compensation, to keep offering higher compensation, right? Someone in there might, people weigh, right? Money is money, right? $500 for your inconvenience. No one, you bid it higher, $1,000, right? $1,500. Eventually, someone is going to step out willingly to get that money, right? So they screwed up so bad that the CEO was interviewed live and he had to apologize, right? First, the clip that I showed you, the CEO apologizing, didn't come out initially when it happened. Right? He only came out after they had a backlash. I'm gonna show you this. Right? It's pretty fun, the backlash. Hold on 1 second. All right, let's take a break first. Let's take a break first. While haven't managed to find a video yet. If I manage to find it, we will resume after the break. 10 minutes. All right. So let's meet again at 12:20. Okay. Meet again at 12:20. Okay, can anyone hear me? Okay, I'm back. The system is also back. Let's watch this as promised, something to lighten up your heart, right? The repercussion, the consequence of um, the crisis, the United Airlines crisis. So let's have a look at it. It's pretty fun to watch. Can you hear the clip?
Board as a doctor, leave as a patient.
Can you hear the clip? Okay, all right. That's the case for emergency response and how it was handled poorly, right? That's an example. Let's move on to to 4.3, right? Effectiveness and profitability of guided tours or any other kinds of business. So in this chart, you can see that tour guiding is tangent or involves many other agencies, right? For example, the government. All businesses has to do with the government, right? The government regulates the business, and businesses pay tax to the government. And public officials, right? Tour guiding has to do with public officials, police, any types of public officials, and hospitals and partners and shareholders, travel agencies, tourist bureaus, and the tourists. Okay? So benefits to the business, right? Benefits to the business. So you see three keywords here. One is customer confidence, right, in blue. And the other slide, you see another keyword that says word of mouth reputation. And the last one, you say the word in purple says repeat business, right? So all of these, how important are they and how are they related to each other? Well, first of all, when you create a good business, right? Doesn't matter if it's a YouTuber, doesn't matter if it's a tour guide, a tour operator, or if you become a chef or whatever career you do. First and foremost, you need customer confidence, right? Customer confidence. So, for example, that crisis of United Airlines that I just showed you, people made fun of it afterwards, okay? And the stock price plummeted, right? Because people were not buying United Airlines anymore after, unless they feel confident that the airline has resolved its problems and policies. So first, customer confidence, okay? No one walks into Starbucks expecting their glass of coffee to be tainted with a dead insect or a cockroach, right? That's the customer confidence. Customer confidence is on the brand, right? On the brand of the business, on the brand of the product. You walk into Starbucks, you expect a certain quality of products and service. You walk into a Marriott hotel, right? You expect certain quality of product and service, right? That's the customer confidence. So when they have the customer confidence, then you have word of mouth reputation for your business. People started talking, right? People started talking. In the past, people talk. In modern days, people talk differently using different methods, right? What kind of methods do they use? More than word of mouth is of course you know this, is social media. Social media, right? Word of mouth is social media. And then after that, you have repeat business. So repeat business means if you open a coffee shop, a hotel, a restaurant, or whatever business it is, right? You want the customers to come back and buy more from you so that it's recurring. Recurring means they buy it again and again and again, right? I use the same brand of soap. We use the same brand of toothpaste, the same brand of shampoo. When we want to travel to hotels, we look for specific brands, or maybe we look for reviews, right? So repeat business. What's so good about repeat business? Repeat business saved marketing and advertising costs. Repeat business save you marketing, advertising, and advertising costs, right? If you don't have a repeat business, it means you have to keep doing marketing and advertising to different clients over and over again, right? It's gonna cost you a fortune. Your money is always leaking, right? And that's not good for your bottom line. Not good for your bottom line, which is a slang for profit, your bottom profit. Okay. So benefits of guided tours to the economy or benefits of any business or any jobs to the economy. First, it creates employment, it creates jobs, right? And I think we have discussed this a bit. Jobs create indirect economic benefits. Jobs create indirect creates indirect indirect financial benefits to society. It creates indirect financial benefits, right? People start buying stuff, so businesses have more money, so they employ more people, and on and on. And it increased spending, right? Indirect benefits is increased spending. And it creates economic diversification, right? Same as indirect, right? Businesses start to expand and diversify it into many other businesses. If you by economic diversification, it means for example, tourists come to hotels, come to a tourist destination. Hotels sell. What else, right? Food stalls. What else? Gas station. Coffee sales to the staff and employees, right? Movies. And staff send their children to school. And on and on and on and on. This is diversification. Okay, this is diversification. Infrastructure is also built. Right? So when tourists come to a country, the government would create BTS, MRT. They pave the roads. They have internet, and so on and on. Okay. So social benefits and environmental benefits as well. Right? Any questions about this? Tour guiding. Any questions? Okay, if less Let's preview our next session. We have a bit, some times left. Let's preview our next session, okay? Next session is about HR. So HR is human resource. HR is human resource, right? So first of all, you need to know that there are two terms in HR, right? One is HRM and the other is HRD, right? So HRM is human resource management, and HRD is human resource development. Anyone know the difference between the two? Human resource management, human resource development. Anyone know what each one means? Anyone know what each one means? Human resource management and human resource development. So human resource management deals with recruitment, right? Since the start, you recruit people, you interview people. Deals with payroll, right? How much you pay people. Deal with their benefits, right? Their vacation, their healthcare, their transportation, their accommodation, and deal with firing people, and succession plan, right? Succession plan versus, i.e., advanced career advancement. Succession plan is when people quit, how are you going to fill it, and career advancement. So that's really a lot. So that leaves us with human resource development. What does it do? Right? Development has to do with training, purely training. Right? So that's the big picture of HR, right? Human resource. Okay, so I'm gonna skim through these, right? They're not hard to understand. Staff training development, like why would you want to train your staff in a business? It improves the quality of customer service, productivity, and it motivates your staff, right? If your employees are the smart bunch, they're gonna want to keep learning, right? Nobody likes repetitive jobs, repeated all the time. Jobs that don't need to think and improve, right? No smart people like that. It limits staff turnover. Turnover means coming in the company and then quitting the company, and then coming in and quitting company. It's called turnover, right? So you can restaurant turnover, same thing, right? Restaurant turnover or hotel turnover. Restaurant turnover means the customers come and sit at the table, and then they eat, and then they check bill and pay, and then they leave, and then a new set of customers come again. So many restaurants want a lot of turnover. Think of Starbucks and McDonald's, right? Starbucks, they want a lot of turnover. They do not like when people come in and get a cup of coffee and then sit for 8 hours, right? That's low turnover. That's low turnover. Okay. They would rather have people coming in, buy, and then get out, come and buy and get out, right? That's called high turnover. Same as company turnover, but it's the opposite. For any company, they want the turnover to be low. They want stable workforce, to work with them for a long time, not coming in and then quit and then have to start the recruitment process again, start a training process again. That's not very convenient for the company. Okay. Increase sales, improve bottom line. I already told you what bottom line is, right? You already learned what bottom line is. It's the profit. Okay. So training your staff can improve the profit, can increase the profit for the company, that is. Okay. All right, these are the skills. Okay, these are the skills. I'm gonna have you do a little exercise. I'm gonna have you do a little exercise. So we have customer service. These are the skills, right? Customer service skills, communication skills, handling complaints, and telephone. Dealing. Dealing with difficult clients and product knowledge. And selling skills. So when you look at these set of skills, right, they're different if you do different careers. For example, if you're a doctor, right, you wouldn't need selling skills, right? But you wouldn't need selling skills or telephone or customer service, right? If you're a pilot, so some of these skills will only apply to you, not selling skills. So my question to you is, of all the skills, right, which are the most important of these? Which skills are the most important of these? The most important means you can only pick 2 to 3, right? No more. The most important skills across most careers. Most important of these across most careers. Okay? So think about it and type away your answers. You can type 1 is the skill, and then 2 is the skill. Think about it before you type. I want to see every one of you type, right? And so that we can all see if we are all in agreement, more or less. Okay, think about it and start typing. Please be as independent as you can be, meaning you think about it and then you type. Don't look at other people for answers, all right? It doesn't matter if you get it right or you get it wrong. This is not a mathematics question, right? There's no correct answer. Okay, there's no correct or incorrect answers. Okay, which of these 7 skills for you is number 1 and number 2? Okay, number 1 and number 2. Okay, communication and customer service. Okay, let's wait until everyone is done. Let's wait until everyone is done. Okay, very good. Do we have everyone here? Customer service communication, customer service communication, product knowledge, and customer service. Okay. Okay, is this everyone? Okay, as I said before, there's no right or wrong answers, all right? It depends on what you want to do in the future and what you prioritize. But from this class, I see a lot of communication. So yes, communication well, I've been teaching here for I think like about 10 years, almost 10 years, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, I don't know. And every class I ask the same questions, right? And I agree with you. Most students in most classes would write, number 1 would be communication, and number 2 would be product knowledge. So communication and product knowledge, why is it important? Every career that you do, you need to know your thing. You need to know your thing. If you're a pilot, right, you need to know how to drive the plane, right? That's your product knowledge. If you're a doctor, you need to know how to fix a patient, how to heal and help a patient. That's your product knowledge. If you are a tour operator, then you need to know your stuff, like what countries and what is going on, what hotels, what's the rate. So I think if you're a salesman, you need to know your product, right? And how it solves your customers' problems. So everything that you do, I would think your product knowledge is probably the number 1 skill, the number 1 most important skill that you need to have, right? Product knowledge. And the second would be communication. So every career that you do, if you don't have a good communication, you're gonna be struggling, and it's very hard to have career advancement. Right? So that product knowledge and communication, think about it. Even if you're a salesman, right? If you have solid product knowledge and you have good communication, then you already have a good selling skill, right? You don't need to sell, but with these 2 skills, product knowledge and communications, I mean, people would come and buy from you, right? People would come and buy from you. It might be redundant with selling skill, okay? So just my opinion, 2 cents on that, right? like statistically, every class, the majority of every class, they would place product knowledge and communication as the two most important skills. Okay. The others are good to have, but not a must. Not a must. All right. Before we part, last time I gave you an assignment. You need to understand jobdb.com, adeco.com, right? So basically, you need to understand industry, career, job description, and job qualification. Okay. So we will continue this tomorrow, right? We will continue to discuss about this tomorrow. But if you haven't done your homework tonight, today isn't a chance for you to do. I want you to go look at the jobs online. Look, explore industry, explore career, explore job title, explore job description, and explore job qualification. Okay, just explore them all to have a pre-idea, right, of what we'll be discussing next tomorrow. Okay. Well, that's it for today. All right. Any questions from anyone? Do you have any questions? If no questions, let's get off to lunch, right? It's almost 1 p.m. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a nice day and take care until then. Okay, bye-bye.